There's almost nowhere on earth that has more love and appreciation for the holidays, quite like Scandinavia. I recently had the pleasure of traveling there, and it was magical, like a Wes Anderson film come to life. One of my favorite things about traveling is trying the food and especially trying the drinks. And these Nordic countries have no shortage of amazing fermented and alcoholic beverages to imbibe. I had an absolutely wonderful time, and without a doubt, I left with some inspiration for several videos to come. But today, I want to talk about a festive beer that inspired me to make this video. Now, I did have some amazing craft beer while traveling through the countries of the north. War Pigs in Copenhagen had some phenomenal IPAs, and a delicious cherry imperial stout. And Omnipolo in Stockholm was an absolute standout, with their off-the-wall concept beers like Gooseberry Sour IPA, Bourbon Barrel-Aged Coconut Maple Toast Porter, and you might even seen this iconic beer from them. It's a beer with a frozen slurry on top. This one just happened to be a blueberry, banana, marshmallow creme brulee sour. A lot going on, but all of them were amazing. But the beer that I couldn't escape was not a craft sour IPA, but a festive lager. One that was everywhere I looked, especially while walking the streets of Copenhagen. The Tuborg Julebryg. If not familiar with Tuborg, it was founded in 1873 in Denmark, and then acquired by the Carlsberg Group in 1970. Their most popular beer is probably the Tuborg Green, which is their Pilsner, and you might even be able to find this at your local international beer shop. But in the 1980s, Tuborg launched their Yule Beer, and it quickly rose to become the most popular beer in Denmark around the holidays. In fact, they even have something called J-Day, basically Christmas Beer Day, to get the people hyped about the release of this year's beer. The beer itself is a 5.6 amber lager with notes of caramel, spice, and a touch of licorice. It's extremely smooth and easy to drink, which is why I found myself going back to it over and over. It's those spice and caramel flavors that make it a perfect holiday sipper that evokes the spirit of the season, but doesn't hit you over the head with too much sweetness or overly spiced flavors. Probably because there's actually no spices in it. It's all coming from the hops. My wife Rachel absolutely loved it, and while I was venturing out to try some more unique beers, she was ordering Yule Beer. So clearly, they're doing something right. So it only made sense that when I got home, I had to make my own version. I did some brief searching online to see if anyone had made any clones of this Yule Beer, and to my surprise, there was one that looked just about perfect. 514 Alistair on Brewer's Friend put together a solid looking recipe, using Pilsner, Munich, and caramel malts for the grains, and then Hallertau and sauce for the hops, which should give this beer the right color, flavor, and aroma. All I needed to do was brew it up. Modifying 514 Alistair's recipe slightly, my recipe consisted of 75% Pilsner, 17% Caramel Munich 60, and 8% Caramel 80. Those caramel malts will add a lot of caramel flavor and help us get to that amber color. I then mashed at 149 Fahrenheit for 1 hour. And a quick shout out to Clawhammer Supply, which provided the system that I'm brewing on today. This is their 10-gallon electric brew in a bag system, and it has made brewing extremely easy for me. And if you're ever interested in making the upgrade to electric brewing, be sure to use the link in the description. Thank you to everyone that uses the links, and thanks to Clawhammer Supply. After the mash, I pulled the grains and started to raise to a boil. At the top of the hour-long boil, I added the first charge of a ½ ounce each of Hallertau Millefruit and Satz. Hallertau is going to bring an herbal floralness, and Satz to me always gives a bit of spice and woodiness. According to Yakima, it can also contribute cream caramel. Interesting. At the end of the boil, with 5 minutes left, I added another ½ ounce each of the same hops. And when the timer was up for the hour, I chilled down and prepped the yeast, which Angel Yeast, the sponsor of this part of the video, was kind enough to provide. This is the Angel Yeast Lager BF27, their classic bottom fermenting lager yeast. This is actually the Weihenstephan strain that is one of the most popular lager yeasts in the world. If you ever made a lager, then you've likely used this strain. It's a very balanced lager yeast that doesn't produce too many fruity esters, making it extremely clean when fermented cool. But even when fermented in the 60s, I've had great results getting little to no off flavors and giving me an even faster lager. But today I'll be fermenting cool to ensure the cleanest results, and BF27 is one clean, crisp, and dry tasting yeast. But if you're looking for something with a little different characteristic, Angel Yeast has a bunch of great options. Whether you're brewing a lager like me, or looking to brew an ale. I actually used their ale AO1 yeast in the previous video, and I was super happy with the results. So be sure to check out their site and pick up some Angel Yeast for your next brew day. Thanks again to Angel for partnering with me on this video. And now, back to the brew. With the yeast in, I plan to ferment at 55 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 week, and then slowly ramp the temp up over the next week until I hit 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Let it hang there for a diacetyl rest for the next couple days, and then cold crash the beer and kegged it all up. After a couple weeks of conditioning, it was ready, just in time for Christmas. Cheers to you. The beer turned out fantastic. As far as color goes, I can't be happier. It's this perfect amber, almost reddish color, and it is absolutely crystal clear, despite only being in the keg for maybe a couple weeks. As far as aroma goes, there's not a ton there, maybe a little bit of spice character, but not too much. But let's take a sip and talk about the flavor. Oh man, that is spot on to what I remember this Yule Beer tasting like. I'm getting lots of caramel notes, almost toffee, rye bread maybe even. And then at the back end, there's a bit of a spice character, almost an herbally spice that's coming from the hops. But this is so crisp, this is so refreshing. The reason I love this beer, and I think why I fell in love with it in Scandinavia, is that it's unlike other holiday beers. I feel like most of the time around this season, it's a lot of thick, heavy beers that really weigh you down. So having a lager is a great change from that. You often find a lot of spiced beers around the season too, so it's nice to have something that kind of gives spice character without being overly spiced or overly sweet. Brewing a beer like this, I think, really reminds me of why I love to travel and why I like to explore new places and try new foods and drinks, because it gives me a chance to expand my palate and expand my horizons and try something completely different. And I love bringing those ideas back and putting it into a brew and sharing it with you so that you can maybe go on your own adventures and pull back some memories and put it into your own home brews. So hopefully this beer kind of inspires you to get out there, learn about something new, learn about a new culture, and then bring it back and brew something of your own. But this isn't the only drink that inspired me on my trip, so stay tuned for some more Scandinavian inspired drinks in the coming videos. And that's a wrap on 2024, so cheers to you. Thanks for all your support. I hope you have a wonderful holidays and a happy new year, and I will see you in the new year. Right, Willow? Cheers.